How you doing, man? Thanks for coming on.
I'm good. I'm good. I'll just put those down.
So what's going on with you right now? You're in off season right now.
Yeah. Off season. Just
So
enjoying life.
are you trying to go up to the 212? Is that what people are saying?
I don't know, but I'm not. I don't know if that's what people are saying, but I am not going to the 212. No.
Oh no, you're staying in the classic physique, eh?
Yeah,
Do you have
yeah.
any aspirations to go to 212 one day, or is that just like not even on your mind?
Not even on my mind, dude.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad that we cleared that up on Canadian Beef Podcast. You guys heard
Yeah,
that.
why was that even a
Oh,
thing, man?
Dude,
I
I
didn't
heard
know it
that.
was a thing.
I was watching some podcast and they were talking about Terrence going.
Really?
Everybody
Yeah,
was saying that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man.
I'm pretty sure.
Every time I get asked that question, I flat out say no. I don't. I really don't get it.
Yeah, that
I
is
think
funny.
it's the typical mentality with some bodybuilders where it's like, if you don't place as well as you thought you could have in that class, it's like, oh, gotta jump to another category.
I think that's a, I think that's a bit much. But yeah, people do think that it's like, oh, he didn't play.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, I think it's a bit, short sighted. But one second, I'm trying to get this camera thing set up,
No, you're good.
and then we'll be ready. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty damn good.
Yeah, we're getting ready to
both on
compete
prep,
with each
so
other. Yeah.
You getting ready to start prep?
yeah, I'm in it now. I'm pretty deep, and Morgan's not far behind.
Oh, okay.
He's like
How's that
2-3
feel?
weeks. He's like 2-3 weeks late, but it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, he'll catch up.
Yeah, but you never tell by looking at us. You would think I'm right on par with him.
Oh,
It's just your face, bro. Wait until we take the shirts off, then we'll see.
Look, homie, did you see the reel I posted there like an hour ago?
Nope, I blocked everybody.
Yeah.
oh my God, already.
Nope, I blocked you.
I don't want to see your
The way to do it.
That's too good, man. Shit.
I'm not finding what I'm looking for. So what? I'll do.
No, I do like to post and walk away these days.
It is nice, to do that.
I just find like Instagram just a huge distraction.
Instagram's a huge. I lost my Instagram again today for like a couple hours.
Why?
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. It got banned for a month there back in December. It was just like it's been going on here like crazy. Like Robin has had his account banned. Their friend color. Yeah, it's just like your account gets banned. They say it's for pretending to be somebody else, and you got to like try to verify yourself.
Yeah, that happened to Hunter a while back. I mean, Hunter's dad. They thought Hunter's dad was pretending to be himself. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. I had to pay a hacker like $1,700 to get my account back.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Let me do one more thing. Let me close this door, and I'll be ready.
Yeah,
that's why they have to again.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, we know that he'll pay now.
Well, I messaged the guy that got it back for me, and he got it back for me like right away. I didn't have
me too, eh?
I didn't have to pay him. Yeah,
he messaged me too.
Yeah,
you know what he said?
I don't know what's going on, bro.
Dude, he messaged me and he's like, hey, I helped your buddy Mo get his account back. He's like, I can do the same for you, but I won't charge you as much. I'm like, fuck off.
Man, he said that to you, motherfucker, man.
Yeah. He's like, I'll give you a better deal, I promise. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was tripping, man, because at that point, my account had almost been banned for 30 days. And it said that it would be permanently deleted after that.
Mine said that too, bro.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm happy I got mine back. It was worth it for me. Because the way I looked at it, dude, like how much money have I generated from Instagram? Right. And I've never 100%. Had to pay for it. 100%. Never had to pay for it. Right. So, and now they have a verification thing coming out now, which I think is good because I think it will stop these accounts from getting banned.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? If you just spend that $12 a month or whatever it is, like well worth it. Like, it's such a business tool for me.
Yeah. I wasn't even sure if I was going to get mine back.
Dude, I know. You just kind of waited it out, right?
I waited it out. But it was Nat that got it back for me. She was emailing Facebook like fucking 15 times a day.
Yeah. I know people have taken that approach to do it too.
I didn't even know she was doing it, but she was just like, hey, I got your account back. I'm like, what the fuck? She's like, yeah, I've just been emailing them like nonstop, just like basically
were they emailing?
Spamming them.
Yeah. So Terrence, I had to pay $1,700 to get my Instagram back. So if your Instagram got hacked, how much would you pay to get it back?
Oof, I have no. How much would I pay? Oh shit!
Yeah,
I
like
don't
what
know.
the top dollar? How important is your Instagram to you?
I mean, it's my whole. I mean, as much as it takes, I guess that's literally the whole
Yeah,
business.
I'm gonna start
that's what
learning
I'm
how to
saying,
hack right
man.
now. We should start
Yeah.
how to hack Instagram accounts.
How to hack it.
New
Yeah.
side business.
Nice.
But no, it's fucked up though, eh? Like how like if you lost something like that, it's like what the fuck do you do? How long would it take you to build all those followers back?
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I
not even
mean,
just a straight like it's not as like black and white. It's just like make a new account and everybody follows because they don't even know if that's your real account anymore.
that is a good point. Yeah, it
Right?
takes. It's yeah. That's a really good point.
Dude, it's just hard to get a follow out of people. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
is. Yeah.
like even for me, like I know, I gotta like your shit to follow you. Like, you know what I
For
mean?
sure.
And most times now, like I almost need to have had like met you like on a personal level to be like, okay, I'm actually going to give this person a follow. Like, just because there's so many people in the like in this industry doing what we're doing. Like,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
you followed everyone that like just had a good physique and competed. Like, you know, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to keep the ratio, keep that ratio, the followers, the following.
Yeah.
People don't like that. I'll unfollow someone. You know, they get up in your DMs. Why did you unfollow me? Do you hate me? I'm
People
gonna
really
unfollow
do
you
get
too.
pissed.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why you needed to DM me to tell me that. You could have just unfollowed me and just kept going.
Like now it's just awkward. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like now when I see you, it's gonna be like
Yeah.
look at each other.
Yeah.
Just like avoid eye contact altogether.
Yeah.
But anyways, bro, thanks for so much for coming on the episode today. I know we're doing a little bit of a late intro, but we have Mr. Terrence Ruffin on today.
Hey.
And so let's get right into it, man. Let's go over kind of what you felt like happened at the Olympia, when what you're gonna do now this off season and what you're gonna do for your next competitive season.
Okay. Right into the thick of it. Okay.
Right into it.
Want the good. We want the good.
It's definitely stress, running a new business, having a new fiance, managing a team of like, at the time I had 8 people. Um, very, very difficult. And also trying to I was still, helping out with oh my goodness, granted supplements for a while, helping them try to get their team together before I left. So it was just a little bit too much on my plate, understanding that sometimes that you can't do everything. Us as bodybuilders like to think we're Superman, we can handle all these different things, be capable of everything, when the time arises. And sometimes it's better to, one, prioritize things, two, say no to certain opportunities, at that time, just to focus on the things that we already have in place. So that's probably the biggest thing, just managing my schedule, managing my team, managing myself better.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, I know for myself, like we have this like almost we're constantly striving to just be like super successful, because it's like that's all we see, like, it's, and especially like us as men, like if you're not like a successful guy, so when you have these opportunities, especially like money making opportunities, it's very hard to turn down because you see it as an opportunity to become like more successful and be seen as more successful, right?
Yeah, honestly, with myself, man, I have it's always been the case with me where I always try to do too much, and every time I think of a new idea, I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome, let me go do that. And I never get anything done because of it. So over the past like few months, it's been hard, but I've been having to tell myself like, no, let's move slower, let's actually focus on the things we have.
Yeah, it's very hard for us to learn to become content, like with anything. You know what I mean? It's like we're constantly chasing progression, like with our physique. So I know, like I tend to do the same thing, man. Like I have my core business, like an online coaching business, like yourself. But then I'm always getting these other ideas of like things I want to start dipping my hands into because I'm like this is not enough. Like I'm able to do more. But when you're trying to be a competitive bodybuilder, like that's so demanding as is, like it's like a full-time job, eating 6 meals a day, training, keep on top of your posing, all that stuff. So it's easy to get in over your head, right?
Yeah. We don't have like a typical schedule because we have to like kind of fit everything in between our training, meals, cardio, all the other shit. So in my opinion, that's what kind of makes it trickier because we don't have like an 8-hour period where you can just sit there and work. We kind of have to divvy that up over the course of the day with all the other shit we have to do too.
Yeah.
So how do you manage all your businesses? And can you tell us a little bit more about what your businesses are?
Right now, I'm just running Iron Eden coaching. We have 5 coaches in total.
Nice.
We just launched the website, so now we can offer posing. So I'm happy about that. Obviously, I've always been known for posing, and for like months we couldn't. There was no way, no way for me. Well, I could still offer posing. The coaches could still offer posing, but just from a financial aspect from the business, there was no way for us to make money from it without a website because there was, and honestly, I don't expect the coaches to give me a percentage of people going to their DMs.
Yeah. So how does that work? Do people just like go purchase like online posing sessions with you guys on the website? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So now we have a website. We have the links in place. I'll probably soon we're working on a like a posing subscription where people pay like $5. They could send us photos or videos for us to critique. So because especially for myself, I charge a lot for posing now. Just for the simple fact of I got so much else going on, and so just a different price point for people to kind of get in and get some value. But yeah, I run this company now. I'm really happy with it. I've been it's been a lot of fun. Outside of that, the sponsorships really, Rise supplements, Flag Nor Fail, and food companies, Flex Pro, a lot of different things like that is what and bodybuilding within itself. Yeah.
Do all these companies that you're sponsored by have like monthly expectations of you that you have to fulfill?
Yeah, and I suck at it, to be honest with you. It's been a challenge because honestly, it's not that it's a ton of content that they require. It's just being creative each month for years on end. Kind of gets old, and having it's just that's probably the hardest part. But I've gotten a little bit better with it. Also YouTube page, but I'm transitioning that into something different now. It just hasn't been, I put a lot of money into it, and over the past 2 years, I haven't really seen a lot of benefit from it. So I did the math; like it was ridiculous how much I lost on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is a battle. It's a battle.
Yeah, I lost probably well, I didn't. I put like 6 figures into it, but I didn't lose 6 figures. So
yeah.
YouTube is tough for me at least. So we're gonna transition.
So what do you think the challenge was for you with YouTube?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, the biggest thing. So 2 things. One that I've highly recognized what the issue was. Like I put out a lot of like workout stuff, like vlogs, and honestly, my life isn't that interesting. You know what I mean? My posing stuff did well, but for years, I could only get songs that had copyright, so I couldn't make any money from it. So I got obviously a big following from all the posing content I would put out, but no way to make money from it. And if I did make money from those posing videos throughout the years, then maybe that we'll have a different story now. But that was probably the biggest thing. And then also it's kind of tough because I wasn't contest shape. I can't be contest shape year round. So even if I was able to make money from the videos, they would take a pretty big dip just because I wouldn't be in shape,
Yeah.
I've even noticed from like my guest pose routines do way worse than my, contest lean posing routines I do. So that was the big thing.
Interesting.
I think I actually want to move over to what you guys are doing. I want to do some podcasting, and provide value that way. Like I've been posting some like mindset stuff like what I think about and how I feel, and that's been doing pretty well. And I just enjoy like learning new stuff. Like you guys, what you guys do right here, man, you guys literally bring someone on every single, I don't know how often you do the podcast, but every single time you guys bring someone on, you're learning something. So, you're giving people, you're educating people, you're learning something yourself. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly how we look at it. And that's what we enjoyed so much, because we're just obsessed with bodybuilding, like much like yourself. So, and that talk to all these different people now that we have access to because we're pros ourselves, that it's just awesome just hearing people's different stories and like how they got into it, and now just seeing where people come from and what they're doing with their careers now. And I think it's cool that you mentioned podcast, man. I think that's like a really good next move for you, because with a guy like yourself that's so established in the industry and like everyone knows who you are, you respect it, your demeanor is really respected, and like you've carried yourself so good, like well on other podcasts before. I think you would be like a big draw, like for sure. So I think
well, I hope so. We're gonna be filming. So literally I just made the decision. Like I've been thinking about it for like a month or two, made a decision today. And we had already planned to go to the Arnold route, and we were gonna shoot a vlog, but I was like, My vlogs never do too well, so I already got the tickets there, I already got the room there. I'm like, let's let's film some podcasts since literally everyone's gonna be at the urinal. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it should be pretty cool. We can probably get some face-to-face ones with some people.
Yeah,
That's a good
that'd
idea
be a
too.
great way to start it off, eh? Like get
Yeah.
some like person stuff, like do the whole setup. That's
Yeah.
yeah, kick it off the right way. That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's even better if you can get them in person. But
Yeah.
I think podcasting is cool just because you can connect with people on a different level. Like on social media, it's mostly just you're just like messaging people, right? There's no way to kind of have like a long, full conversation. So I
Yeah.
think that's cool because we can connect anytime, anywhere around the world with a podcast and have a full conversation, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
It is cool. Yeah.
plus you already got the setup, you got the the lights going, you got the headphones set up, everything. So you're already like 99% of the way there, bro.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is I was planning on doing it like months ago. And I actually did one with Lita Brada, but then I got so busy with my prep for the Olympia. I was like, oh my God, I can't. So this is what all this setup was for. I just haven't really used it yet.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
man. So
Where are you sorry, you go ahead, Robin.
no, I was gonna get into the next topic. I was just
Yeah,
gonna ask, what are you gonna do this off season to make those improvements for next year?
I've been a little bit more structured with my with just metrics, tracking metrics. Like I
Logbooks and stuff, or
I always logbook, but even more so, like I'm doing like the DEXA scans since we got one local at MI40. I'm doing like tape measurements and things like that. Because during a prep, I've actually tracked that pretty extensively through like University of Tampa. We've done 2 case studies using my prep, and I haven't lost any muscle during prep. Those 2 times we did that case study, so that makes me feel pretty good about what I'm doing is working very, very well. But I've never done anything in the off season to see how well I'm building, and obviously I haven't been because I've been about the same size for the past couple years. So that's going to be a big thing to make sure I'm actually progressing like I want to. So that's probably the biggest thing. But tape measurements, DEXA scans. Already do a logbook. I love that. I've been preaching that forever. And just traveling a lot less would be another thing. That would be I for 2 years straight, I traveled way too much. So this year, I'll still do stuff here and there, but some months I would be going every weekend. And that I loved it at first, but 1, that's not great for bodybuilding, and 2, you get burned out after like doing that for 2 years.
yeah,
Yeah, it starts to wear on you mentally when you kind of know you're doing things that are hindering like what you should be doing, like when it comes to nutrition and your recovery, especially, right? So, but yeah, you mentioned about obviously, you have to make some changes so you make progression in your off season. But do you have anything in your mind that you have to do different from a training or nutrition standpoint? Like, are you going to push the food harder or change how you're training to try to build more muscle this off season?
We'll probably try to push the food a little bit harder, and obviously this year I have to requalify for the Olympia. So, one, I told my coach, I was like, look, if we aren't at the weight cap, or if we're not, projected to be at like the top of my weight class, then I don't want to hop on stage this year. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I've done that in the past. Typically for me, it really does take longer to put on muscle. In 2000, what was it, 18? I went from 6th place the previous year to 9th place. And, that was another wake up call for me. I took the year off and came back and took 2nd at the Arnold, 2nd at the Olympia that year. So I know for me, sometimes it's a time thing where I need a little bit more time than others to put on that mass. So that might be something. Hopefully not. I'd rather not take the whole year off. But if it comes to that, I'm more than fine. I can, more than fine than do that.
How old are you again, Terrence?
Oh man, I'm 29.
Bro, yeah. I mean, great. I mean, you can't feel bad about taking a year off when like you've had the success that you had, and you're still not even 30 years old yet.
Yeah.
I just turned 30. When do you turn 30?
October 22nd.
Oh, yeah, cool. You're
yeah.
So you still get to enjoy this entire year. Your 20s. Yeah. Listen, man,
I like it.
Tough one. It impacted me. I think I'm having some midlife crisis stuff going on right now. So
I think I'm
give me a heads up.
Oh man.
Yeah, you'll feel it too when you hit that big 3-0. It's gonna be like, oh shit.
Yeah, my buddy, he turned 30 in August of last year, and yeah, he's still talking about it. So I can't believe I'm 30. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is, man.
Yeah.
It is really weird. Yeah.
I try not to think about it. I'm just like, hey man, I'm not 50 yet. So
Well, the way I look at things, like with the advances in like medical technology and everything that we have going for us as bodybuilders, like 30 is pretty much the new 20, right?
Honestly, I think so. I mean, and especially in terms of bodybuilding, 30 is when you hit your peak. And also in terms of just like general, like like looks, most people peak in their 30s. Like if they're living a healthy lifestyle, like if you're like when you're like 20 years old, you haven't grown into your head or your ears or your face yet. Sometimes, that was my case at least. And so you kind of start to like glow up as you get older.
That is very, very true. That is very true. Yeah.
Did you ever Morgan, did you feel like that too? Because you're fucking tall. Did you feel like awkward as fuck, like in your body when you were like
yeah, man, I was awkward. Like I was like a basketball player, but like I still had this like big kind of structure, right? And I had like really big hands and big feet, and I had big earlobes. I used to get made fun of for my big earlobes because like he said, like my head wasn't grown into the ears yet, like so they stood out. So I still kind of self-conscious about the earlobes because of that, but yeah, exactly. But I think it just took some test and growth hormone, and here we are now. I fit into my body. Fantastic. Yeah.
I wouldn't have even noticed the earlobes unless you said something about that.
Yeah. Now you're just looking at them, right? Yeah.
Now that's all I can see.
Yeah, I gotta get these are made to be pierced, man. I should have some like studs in these.
Exactly.
You need to have a fucking spacer in there, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know about that.
Did you ever do that? Did you ever do that shit, Terrence? Like ear piercing, like spacing out your ears, anything like that?
I got my first ear piercing. I got mine, I think, was it a year or two ago? I got my ears pierced. Yeah. So, because I grew up, my mom was very strict. She approved or disapproved, whatever I wore. It had to go through her first. Couldn't go out to parties. Couldn't do certain things with my hair. Then I went straight into the military, which was even more strict, Yeah. So as soon as I got out, I was like, let me do everything and let me try everything. And so I've been a lot more like expressive. And even now I still feel like I'm a bit conservative, but I've been like a little bit more free with kind of how I present myself.
And that actually makes perfect sense about you, because like you do have this like very like just like calm, collected demeanor, but your creativity obviously comes out like in your posing and stuff like that. That's like one of your releases, I guess, right?
For sure. Yeah.
And what are you like in the gym? Like I've never really seen any training videos of you. Like what's your training like? Are you training like with like high intensity, like like a lot into it, or are you kind of more like calm and collected in the gym too, and like precise with your reps and stuff?
I'm probably closest. Me and Nick Walker trained pretty similar. Like we come from that same like group and like mindset. Everyone that's kind of learned from like Joe Bennett, Matt Jansen, trained by JP, kind of all under that same like umbrella.
So you do have like a progressive overload mindset in your training, obviously.
For sure. Very low volume, progressive overload. I am pretty calm. I'm pretty calm. Like I don't get like worked up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like with the progressive overload stuff for you personally, like do you, even though you're training that way and obviously trying to increase your weights and stuff, do you still always try to make sure you have like a good connection with the muscle? Like, when you lose that connection, will you kind of be like, that's where you draw the line with increasing your weight? Or
in the past, no, but I noticed very much, I'm getting to the point now where I feel like my progression is like slowed a lot. And I started to get more and more like injuries, nothing major, but like, oh man, my knee kind of hurts. I kind of have to ease back for like 2 weeks. Oh man, my elbow hurts. I can't, let me drop it by 20 pounds or 30 pounds. So that's been going on for the past like year or so. So I'm like, okay, let me figure out another way to progress. And that's what I've been trying to do, is connect a little bit better, really get the most out of the weight. And then taking a little bit longer to make those weight jumps. Cause in the past, as soon as I hit maybe 8 reps, I would go back down to, add the weight until I got to a point where I was at like 6 reps again. Then I would kind of stay between like 6 to 8 most of the time. But now I'm taking a little bit longer and trying to get that rep range a little bit higher, maybe to 12. or so before I increase weight now.
Yeah.
And I've been feeling a lot better that way, you know.
Do you ever do different styles of training, like high or like giant sets or higher volume or like just high rep sets, like 20, 30 reps, anything like that? Or do you mostly just always stick to heavy kind of progressive overload stuff?
Yeah, mostly now that's what we do. When I was younger, my first 2-3 years as let me see, 2000. I started bodybuilding in 2013, and up until I kind of kept that same high volume type of training until 2018 or 19, when I started really training with Joe. When I moved to Tampa and started training with him more often.
And is that when you started seeing the most results?
Yeah, I highly credit Joe to my transformation over that year I took off, because that's when I decided to move here. That's when he started to train with me a little bit more. And yeah, I mean, my first couple of years, I mean, I turned pro as a bodybuilder as a lightweight at 155. And my first pro win, so I turned pro in 2014 at 155. And my first pro win 2 years later, I was 157. So I was like, I need to do something different. 2 pounds and with almost 2 years off is sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think this is good to talk about, because I think a lot of people, I know myself, did the same thing when I was younger. I trained like 6 days a week, super high volume, just love being in the gym, catching a pump, looking at girls and shit, you know? And then when same thing, I got sick of like competing and like barely progressing. And then I connected with Dorian Hamilton, Robin's coach now, and he taught me about progressive overload. And that's when I, saw those results. So like when you started training with Joe, did you just like have an epiphany and realize like, oh, like this kind of training intensity is really what matters in training, right?
For sure. And what's funny, like I kind of my legs are a strong point, no doubt, but I kind of apply progressive overload just to my quad training. And that's why my quads are so much ahead of everything else for the first few years that I've been competing. My whole goal was to be like Tom Platz. I want to lift, how much was it, like 523 pounds for however many reps it was.
Yeah, like 25 reps or something.
Yeah. So for some reason, that was the only body part I progressed. Like I logged, I kept track with, and nothing else. It's just that.
Dude, and you're the exact same, bro. I still say this to this day. Like I still train my upper body intensely, but I always just say to myself, I wish I could bring the leg day intensity to my upper body days. Like it's just something about leg day, like that I'm just like a freak in there lifting super heavy, like training.
You can't. And the reason why you can't do that is because Tom Platz tried to do that.
Yeah.
Watch his upper body training videos. They're absolutely bananas, but it didn't develop his upper body the same way it developed his legs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I guess it makes sense in a way, because your legs there's so much muscle there, like they need to be traumatized to grow, whereas your upper body muscles, like the only time they do anything is when you're in the gym. Like
pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it's just the sheer like size of half your body is your legs. But I'd watch Tom Platz, and he's doing like fucking like, you guys know how you do like the hamstring curls, like literally breaking the machine, and like the leg extensions, like the pads like going to go flying across the room. He would do the same thing with his biceps and his shoulders and chest and everything. It's like, but how can you maintain that forever? Like you need to have that leg day. It's like, that's the fucking day.
Yeah.
But then you need to have some days that are a little bit less intense so you can actually recover and do that again. Because if you're just trashing your whole body on a bicep workout,
one thing I always thought of too for myself, because like I was always super leg dominant as well, was that like if you have really good leg genetics, right, and you train legs really hard, I always wondered if the nutrients you're eating are just more likely to go to that genetically gifted body part to grow it, and it doesn't leave as much left over to help with your upper body. Like I don't know what you guys think.
Anecdotally, I would say I would agree and say that it does. Even with myself, my quad volume now is pitiful. I do one set on hack squats, and I do one set of leg press, and I do like a sled push. I don't know how many meters it is, but not very far. And that's plenty enough to maintain the leg sets I have. And I've noticed too, if I have to go back and look at photos, but I do know the best placing Tom Platz ever had was when he didn't train legs for his prep. That year he took, I think, second to it may have been Franco Colombo, the year he had Gyno won the show. That was his best placing ever. Is when he didn't train legs. Now I don't know if it's because he was just more symmetrical or that his upper body actually grew. I don't know. Or let me rephrase it. I don't know if his legs downsized or his upper body actually grew to match his legs in that point. But I do know that his best placing was when he didn't train legs. And then even I always in every podcast I mention Michaela. Michaela's another one, but not legs, but back. Her back is a huge strong point. And when she right now, I think she's only training legs 3 times a week. That's her entire split, legs 3 times a week. And if you've noticed, she's posted some transformation photos. Her legs are blown up, from doing that. So I do think you're correct. Like, and John Meadows used to talk about it too, where you only have like this limited, tank of recoverability, and you have to kind of space that up with certain body parts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He would talk about kind of like digging a hole, and then you try to fill that hole back up. But if you dig it too deep, it's harder to fill that hole back up. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I know that's something I've learned over time is like just kind of knowing in training, like when to just like stop and like when to not do that extra set. Like, after you do 1 or 2 hard working sets, you're like, can I beat that set on this 3rd set? Like, no, like, you know what I mean? So you just got,
that's the struggle sometimes when you're in the gym and you're in the zone. You're like, I'm just gonna fucking do 1 more set, and then you just end up doing another hour of training for no reason, right?
Yeah,
like just doing shit because it feels good, basically.
Yeah,
like,
But that's a good point though, because I remember even talking to Ben Pekulski, and he obviously had one of the best set of legs too.
for sure.
And he would say that when he had an injury on his legs or whatever, and he would like just do like once a week or twice a week, he would just do like bike sprints, and he didn't lose any mass on his legs, even though he didn't train them directly for like months. So that's pretty crazy that you can like maintain that amount of muscle with like very little stimulation.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah. One thing I've been doing recently is just like I'll do quads 1 week and I'll do hamstrings the next week. Like that's kind of splitting it up, because I even find for me, like, I don't know. I just train quads super hard, I guess. But like when I try to train them 2 or 3 consecutive weeks, like that's when my knees start hurting me and things like that. And I kind of got to pull it back anyway. But with this system, just hitting quads really hard 1 week, and then the next week is like, heavy RDLs, lots of hamstring curls and stuff like that. It seems to be, I think my legs are still improving. They're definitely not getting smaller doing it. So
yeah, I've done something very similar with my arm training. Like I had a little bit of like elbow tendonitis and stuff like that. So I just stopped training triceps and biceps for a little while. And my arms were still making some progress, not as good, obviously, but my elbow pain went away. And then what I would do is I would do like in my 5-day split, 1 week I would do a shoulder day, and then the other week I would do an arm day.
So when you like kind of take out the arm training, are you like you're kind of confident in that because you have good arms, right?
Oh yeah.
You're just like whatever. Like
yeah. I mean, it's like the like with Terrence or whatever. It's like, or with Tom Platz. It's like if I have a really really good body part already, and I need other body parts to kind of come up to match that. That's just how it made sense in my own head.
Yeah.
But
I guess I'm gonna skip leg day tomorrow.
Yeah, do it. You don't need it. Yeah, you don't need it. You might as well just stop training for the rest of the prep. Don't worry about your legs. Just do upper body only.
Yes. Yeah.
So Terrence, I want to ask you. So when you were weighing in at the Olympia, you were pretty much right on the cuff of your weight, right?
Yeah.
So how are you going to be able to add muscle and still make that weight cap?
I think it was a bit of water retention, to be honest with you. With the stress, yeah. I literally had to fire a coach the day after the show, so it was a lot of stress going into that show, and it's a learning lesson, you know.
You mean you had to fire an employee? You mean?
Yeah.
You didn't fire your coach. You didn't fire your coach.
Yeah, clarification.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was just a lot. You know, I for some reason I thought it was a good idea to have that person come to the Olympia with me and try to do content with and stuff like that, and it was not. So I looked at the, you know, it's weird too, you know, because looking at photos from this Olympia to last Olympia, I would say I was pretty close to being on par, but you know, obviously at the Olympia level, pretty close isn't good enough. Obviously, yeah, you know, to be the best, you know, it's that fine line. So
feel like the standard of judging is so high at that show. Like, it's just insane.
It really, yeah, it really is. It really is. Especially when you got like, I think there was like 50 or 60, classic physique guys at the show this year. It was insane, and me as a fan of bodybuilding, I thought like everyone looked amazing, I recognize that I could never be a judge because I wouldn't know how to pick one person from the next.
Yeah, especially some of you guys, man, are such different body types. Like, it's super hard to compare. Like, you know what I mean? I think for you, like for me, just watching the show, I think it was just like that little bit of sharpness like that you had last year, you didn't have this year. And like you said, the water retention makes perfect sense. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure you prepped just as hard and did everything like just as hard as you did any other year. These are just kind of, and this is what people need to realize about bodybuilding too. Like, you can do a 16-week prep and be perfect. And if that last week, like something goes wrong, when you're that lean, and especially at your level, like your conditioning is like, Olympia level, like top guy.
For sure.
The slightest thing can cause a bit of water retention, and the whole look is tarnished because of that, right?
I wanted to ask you too. It's like I've experienced something like this before, where if your peak or your mind game or whatever the case is, if you're not like 100% on when you're on that stage, it's almost like subconsciously your body moves a little bit differently. Like when you're posing, it's almost like you have less control over your muscle. Did you feel like that too? Because I remember being on stage before and not really liking my presentation because I felt like I had like less control over my body. Like I was almost like flexing stuff and couldn't feel it, and I was shaky and that kind of stuff. Did you feel like that at all?
I didn't really feel that way, but I definitely 100% agree with you. I mean, your mind is everything, it controls everything, and people, every other sport, whether it be I think basketball, football, they have like mindset coaches, like legit PhDs. Like I know, oh man, Peyton Manning had his name's Dr. Nate Zinzer. And he wrote a book. I read his book about confidence going into competitions, and it talks about all that type of stuff.
Interesting. So did you feel off like mentally going into this year's Olympia?
I definitely felt off mentally because I knew all the stress. I knew I was dealing with a lot of stress, and I'm like, holy moly, yeah.
So let's bring it to like a couple weeks out. Let's say 4 weeks out. How are you feeling at that point?
4 weeks out, I felt pretty good. I had a lot of systems in place to help me, which was nice. I was pretty much in a good place 4 weeks out from the show. I was a little bit more busy than I would have liked, but overall, I felt pretty good. Yeah.
So you think this is like a pretty big learning experience for you? Like
yeah, yeah, a really big learning experience. Running, starting up because coaching within itself isn't. I mean, I've been doing that for I think like 6-7 years now, but running an actual like business is a whole different animal. Making sure like you're learning about churn rates and learning about like funnels and email marketing, trying to shoot like 30 videos for that email marketing funnel, planning out the content schedule for all your coaches. It's a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah it is a lot. I want to get a little bit more into that mindset. So when did it shift from that you were feeling good 4 weeks out? When you got to Vegas, how are you feeling at that point? Was it still good, or when was that?
We brought the coach here a week before the Olympia.
Yeah.
So right around then was when I started to stress because things weren't going quite the way we had planned them to go with the trip, unfortunately. So that's when I started to feel it, and I can feel a lot like when other people are stressed around me, I feel it as well. So a lot of people were stressed in the air in my household, and it really affects me as well. I'm not the type of person to see someone in pain or not happy and just be able to do everything's good.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so I'm just curious because at this level it's so competitive. When you're in this prep, you're feeling good, you're going to the Olympia, you feel like you're bringing your best. Are you in your mind, you're deciding or you're thinking, or that you're visualizing that you're taking out Chris? Is that what your main focus is, or what's your main focus, or are you not focused on the outcome as much at all?
I've never been focused on the outcome. I'm not that type of person. I've seen people get fixated on beating a particular person, and one, they end up not being that person, and that they value themselves less because of it.
Yeah.
And two, what happens when that person's gone, you know, or even to the point where you focus on this one person and then another person beats you out of nowhere, you know.
Yeah.
I've had clients, we've all had at least I've had clients where they focus on this random dude on Instagram, then that random dude on Instagram doesn't make top 10, doesn't even get first call outs, and then someone else ends up winning the show. And I'm like, dude, you're causing the stress. This is unneeded stress in your life, you know.
Yeah.
So I always focus on the things that I can't control. Like, I'm big on stoicism. So focus on, you know, every single day being the best version of me, going to the gym, you know, killing it, you know, getting all my meals in, sleeping, cardio, all those things. And if, you know, when I do all those things and I do them perfectly, then, you know, whatever the outcome may be, I know that I put my best into it and then I'm happy about it. So that's how I've always been. Because every single time I try to focus on someone else, it ends up being bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So like leading into the show, like do you do like visualization work, or is that just like from a posing standpoint that you utilize that? Like, do you visualize yourself winning the show, like when you're doing your cardio and stuff like that, or not at all?
You know, I don't, but I think I should. I think I should get into that more. I used to do that a little bit more too. And I don't know when I stopped. You know, I did it for when I got my pro card. I thought about it. I was very, very much focused on that completely. And I got a positive outcome because of it, you know.
Yeah, same thing happened with me when I won my pro card. That's why I brought it, because
Me
it's
too.
the first time I really applied it. Like, it was the first time I felt like my physique was at a level that was like worthy of being on like a national stage and could be competitive. And so it just seemed so much real, like so much more real to me when I was visualizing, because I knew that like the work had been put into that point. And then yeah, it worked out pretty good for me too. So yeah, I was just interested to see.
I think maybe part of the visualization thing is I still believe I have room to improve. You know, I know they say, you know, us as bodybuilders, like we're always chasing, you know, more and more and more, but I actually have a point where I'm like, this is what I want, this is where I'll be happy with, and I know it, and I'm very, very close to it, and I'm very, very close to it. You know, it's weird. When I first started competing, I thought, you know, I had a whole different view of like how competing would be. When I first started competing, I was like, oh, I will get my pro card when I weigh 180 pounds and be competitive. And, you know, because back in the day, like I was looking at 90s bodybuilders, like Sean Ray, even 80s bodybuilders like Lee Labrada. I'm a huge fan of him, where they would turn pro and immediately be, you know, worthy of the pro stage. The only reason I went to nationals was because Nick Trigili told me to do it back in 2013. Yeah. He was dating a girl in Fort Walton Beach, and he saw me on stage, and I guess he texted a judge or something at the time, and he said, hey, well, this judge said you should go. And I was like, oh, okay, well, and that's what I did. Yeah. So yeah. So I honestly, in my mind, when I first started, I thought I would have to be a lot bigger and better. And it's funny because I'm still not 180 pounds on stage. Yeah.
That is kind of funny, but you won Arnold Classics.
Yeah. So my whole view was like way off.
That's pretty great. So that show that you just went to on a whim, that's when you turned pro.
Yeah. He the show I met him at was in April 2013. I wanted to do not junior USA's, but USA's, but I couldn't afford it at the time, so I had to wait until nationals in November that year. So yeah, I had just turned 21 1 week before the show. Maybe 2 weeks before the show happened. Yeah. So I was the youngest pro at that point. Dallas was the youngest before me, so a lot different. A big difference in size. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you also do like other modalities like meditation or prayer or anything like that, like in your routine?
Not so much in a sense. I do, I guess, maybe my own version of getting peace. I personally I like
Yeah,
right now I do a lot. I just the walks in the morning when I have time to myself just to be, or even just those couple, 20 minutes in the car where I don't have any music. I just alone. I very much like alone time from time to time.
yeah,
And then outside of that, the only other things I do, I definitely think you need to train your mind. I think that's very important. I see a lot of pros nowadays who have all the potential in the world, but mindset wise, that's what causes them to fail. That's what causes them to, not reach what they're trying to reach. So
yeah.
I read a lot of books, that help me with that because just like, I mean, people, it's funny because people think, just because they know something that they don't have to like do it anymore. But it's the opposite, just like your muscles, you can know how to bench press, but if you don't actually bench press, you're gonna get weaker, you're gonna get smaller, right? Same thing with like your mindset and you have to kind of continually, train yourself up, listen to motivational stuff, meditate, whatever it may be to keep your mindset right, throughout the years of competing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, man. It's like I always relate it back to like training, like you said. It's just like a muscle. Like you're training a muscle in the gym. You got to train your mind the same kind of way. You got to put the repetitions in. You have to put the volume in. If you're doing one set for your mind once a month, how the fuck are you going to make any gains at all? You got to be
Exactly.
consistent with it, right? So yeah, that's cool.
What's funny? I was listening to this podcast the other day. This guy named David Cerner, he's read over like 250 biographies, and he said the most consistent thing that all these successful people do, is read and write. So they
Mhm.
continuously read, how other successful people are and act, and they write, their thoughts on how to be better, and I think that says a lot. If that's a common thread, people like to say that uh that stuff doesn't really matter and you don't, but like if I would say like 90% of the people I know read books or do something of that nature, then it's probably like a probably a big deal, it's probably a big deal.
I think it is, man. I think one of the keys to understanding how big of a deal it is how much resistance it gets when you have a conversation with somebody about doing something like that if they're not ready for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they're like, "Oh, I want to be a pro bodybuilder." Like, "All right, man, like let's start talking about meditation, journaling." Like, and they're like, "Oh, no, 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 I don't want to do that shit." But that's half of it, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's a big piece of it, in my opinion. And it's not like you have to do all of those things because I always say, and I always try to break it down into five things: visualization, meditation, reading, prayer, and journaling.
Mhm.
And just like you said, like the reading and the writing, those are like major keys. But even just getting someone to journal for 5 minutes a day, I try to get my clients to do that. A lot of them don't want to do that. Try to get someone to read 10 minutes a day. A lot of people don't want to do that.
Mhm.
Wonder why that is.
Man, I struggle with that. Something I always say to myself, I want to start reading more books just because I just know how good it is, like for the brain and everything like that. But I think for people, it's just the addiction to the phones, honestly. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
That dude, what I started doing, I don't touch my phone until after I'm done my cardio in the morning. So the first thing I do when I wake up, when I'm taking a shit, I read a book. And I can tell you that my mood is way better throughout the day versus being on the toilet on your phone in the morning, just taking a bunch of random information. I'm actually learning something that I can apply for the rest of my day or share with someone that I see. But just generally like doing that kind of morning thing, just that little subtle shift made a huge difference for me. So I don't know, maybe that can be something that you do. I don't
yeah,
know.
I think it's just something I actually need to schedule in, right? Because I know for me, like I just work all day with the coaching stuff, so it's like,
Yeah.
and you guys know how it is. It's like you're just on your phone, just like waiting for updates to come in, and just like
Yeah.
between conversations with
Yeah.
clients, you're like, I'll just kind of scroll like while I'm waiting, like
Oh, man. And
this,
it's like a
that.
constant jumping around. It's like monkey mind. You're like, and then someone else messages you and you go to their message, and then you're jumping over to here and here because people keep pulling your attention because your clients, they want you to
Mhm.
respond. So you're responding to everybody to make everybody happy. But by the end of it, you're kind of feeling a little scatterbrained. That's kind of how I feel. I don't know if you guys are like that too.
I can't. That's why I can't even like read a book in the evening because like by 6, 7 o'clock hits, like my brain is so mush from.
Yeah.
You know, you guys feel that too. I bet. Eh?
That's why I started doing it in the morning, because I would try to do it at night, and I'm like, nah, I'm fucking fried, man. Like, just want to like not even think. So yeah. So do it in the morning when you're fresh, maybe. But yeah,
I gotta figure something out.
Yeah. But okay, so talking about the next season coming up, you're not sure if you're going to compete or not, eh?
My goal is to compete this year, but obviously that's, and I'll do my best to get to that point. But if I'm not happy with my physique, then I won't.
What's it going to take for you to be happy with your physique?
Yeah, I want to
just a couple more pounds, maybe like if I can look like the goal. I've been up to like 205.
That's like the ultimate lie that bodybuilders tell themselves. If I just get to 250, I'll be happy. Okay, if I just get to 260, I'll be good. Oh no, I got to get to 270 now. It's a couple more pounds.
There's been a couple times where I've been truly very happy with my physique, and every time it's honestly been at the Arnold. The 2 Arnold wins I've had.
I was gonna say, was that when you had a trophy in your hand? At the
maybe that's something in my head there, but maybe with the light, I do think the Arnold has better a better production, like lighting and stage wise, than the Olympia as well. But
yeah, I agree.
But yeah, every time I look at photos, those are the I just love those shots. See, I got those framed up there. So there's been a couple of times where I've been really happy. But yeah, I think I would love to come actually have to suck down to make weight, and I'll be happy. I haven't really had to. I haven't had to do that ever. Not since I got my pro card like 8 years ago. So,
sounds like you got to push the food harder than you ever have before, bro.
For sure. It's funny. Like I've been kind of around the most food I ever ate was like around that point. I got up to like 5,000 calories when I was like 20 years old, and I don't think I've ever been quite that high since. I've been close, but not quite that high.
Dude, 5,000 calories for a guy your size is a shit ton of food.
I was just doing my own thing at that time too. It's funny because people still, I hear people all the time like, I don't know where to start. When I first got into bodybuilding, I went to the grocery store. I got 2 magazines. I got one with Dexter Jackson on the cover and the other with Joel Thomas on the cover, Nutrition A to Z. And I just took that meal plan and I made some small adjustments to it, but I was still eating way too much. But I just got started, and I learned along the way. I ate like rice, chicken, broccoli, like 3-4 times a day. I had like eggs and oatmeal in the morning, and then like a shake, and that was my meal plan for like the first 2 years.
So what's the approach now? Like, are you like a guy that's really big on like clean foods and digestibility, which I'm sure you are, but like, do you, you being like a hard gainer, do you have to incorporate like more calorie dense foods and cheat meals and stuff like that? Or like, what's your approach there?
Right now, food, I don't think food's really too high. I wish I knew how many calories I was eating, but the only dirty food we're having right now is I have sorbet, and honestly, that's the sorbet I eat isn't really it's not really that dirty in my opinion. It's Talenti sorbet, so it's like the fruit, water, and like I think a little bit of added sugar, and that's it.
Like straight carbs.
Yeah, it's straight carbs,
Right.
And
so when will you incorporate something like that?
We just started. So I started doing that now. I'm at 190, so I'm still about like 10-15 pounds from my heaviest. But if I can get up to 210 and cut down to like 180 to compete, I'll be happy. And I think that's possible this year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I imagine you don't put on a lot of body fat like when you're trying to gain size.
That's what people say. I don't agree, but that's what people say.
Yeah, but your spectrum for what fat
for sure.
Probably people also say that you struggle getting to your weight cap. So
yeah. It's funny. I think it has a lot to do with I don't know if you guys knew Matt Porter when he was around.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that has to do with the way Matt Porter used to think because he was all about being conditioning. And I think that still is a heavy influence on me today, where I heavily prefer just shredded physiques over anything else.
Yeah, I like Matt's content a lot. He was like hardcore, like
For sure, yeah.
one of those super passionate guys, and because of his passion, he became so knowledgeable, like through like experiments and stuff like that. Like those guys were, and even like Boston Lloyd, like he's not quite the guy that I want to give like a lot of like credit to or anything like that. But I think these guys still did play an important role in the industry because they did a lot of stuff that most people weren't willing to do. And I think if anything, a lot of people we've learned a lot from those guys and like the just the things that they tried and experimented with while they were here, right?
For sure, for sure. I think we actually are seeing a lot less experimentation these days with like people like, they have like these safer use models now, and obviously they're great, but I think at the same time it's like putting people in a spot where there's like, oh, this is the only thing we can do, But yeah, Matt, I remember, man, he was very, very intelligent. Some of the things he was coming up with, like he wanted to make protein powders that for off-season competitors that were like really thin, to help them get down, eat more. He wanted to do thicker proteins, during contest prep. He found like different ingredients to make that happen that didn't increase the calories. He was trying to do a lot of cool stuff.
Man, that's a good idea. Like even like just that, like
I know, right?
I haven't thought of that yet. Like that would be incredible. Like
yeah.
I could have like a protein powder in the off season that's like apple juice or something like that. That goes down that easy. You know what I mean? And then in prep, like I want like the chocolate milkshakes. Like,
exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Right? Yeah, sure.
I think Rich Gaspari tried that with his I forget the name of his protein powder, but it was like super thick, like it was supposed to be like a milkshake.
Yeah.
But dude, I remember putting like 2 scoops in a shaker cup and I couldn't even like shake it. It was just like a glob.
Like that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, Matt had that vaso burn. That shit is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I just wish it wasn't so expensive to get to Canada from the US.
Is that the cream? Is that cream?
Yeah, it's the cream. Yeah, you guys, it's a lot of stuff in Canada. It's hard to get. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
It's hard out here, bro.
It's real tough. Real tough to be a Canadian these days.
Yeah, you can have like we can have like 120 milligrams of caffeine per scoop of pre-workout out here.
Wow.
Anything more than that, it's considered like meth.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Dude, I got an order of cream of rice that I got a new sponsor for cream of rice, and he sent me a shipment of cream of rice from Australia like a month ago, and I still haven't got it.
Wow.
Dude, that's gonna be a
it's
gonna be a tough long distance relationship you got there.
Yeah, I know. First world fucking problems here.
Dude, even from Jack Factory, like I'm sponsored by them and I get their subs come from the States. Like the headquarters is here where I live, but it's all produced in the States. And that's why like I still get good pre-workouts and stuff like that. But yeah, like a shipment from them can take up to a month sometimes. Just have to go through customs and get to where I am. So but I'm also in Newfoundland, which is like not easy to get to. Do you know where Newfoundland is?
I do not.
No. Yeah. So it's like
what province?
It is the province.
Oh, okay. There we go. That tells you how much I know.
So so it's like if you look at the map of Canada, there's like this like weirdly shaped island like on like right off the east coast.
Oh, okay.
East of Toronto. And,
okay.
Yeah, it's
the
pretty
furthest
big.
I've been is Quebec.
It's like
Quebec. Yeah.
What's that?
So the furthest I've been is to Quebec.
Quebec, yeah. So you go if you went Quebec, and then you would go Labrador, which is Newfoundland and Labrador are the same province. So Labrador is connected to Quebec, and then off the coast of Labrador is Newfoundland, which is like we're the size of Texas. Like it's a pretty big island. But that's where I'm at. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there's only ever been 2 IFBB pros from Newfoundland, right? You and Frank McGrath. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's a couple girls too, but like nobody would know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder when we'll get our first Canadian pro from the Yukon.
The Yukon? Do they even lift out there? Or?
None of it.
Is there any pros from Alaska?
I don't know. It's a good question.
They do have
no idea.
I know they have one bodybuilding show a year out there.
Yeah, they have a show, but I don't know if there's any.
It's funny too because a lot of Americans they don't know anything about Canada. I don't blame you guys because I probably wouldn't give a shit either. But it's just funny that like because we don't really understand like US that much either because we don't get taught a lot of it.
I disagree, man. I think because our media, like we get all this United States media. Like
that's true. I was just trying to be nice. Yeah. It's more just the ignorance of the US about Canada. It's not so much.
It's not. Yeah, no, we're not.
I'm just trying to create equality here, but yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I know more about the United States than I do Canada sometimes, honestly, especially about politics. Like,
Oh yeah,
True.
like
Yeah.
presidents and like I remember knowing, like as a kid, I would know who the president was, but I had no idea who the fucking prime minister was.
wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Actually, that's true. Do you know who our prime minister is?
Trudeau.
Yeah. Well, I guess everybody knows Trudeau now.
Yeah, he sucks, bro. Probably just know him because he sucks.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about beaver tails and poutine. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You were in Quebec. Did you have a poutine?
yeah, of course.
Oh man, what'd you think?
I love it. Yeah.
It's delicious, right? It's
Yeah.
delicious.
When
As
was
long as
the
you
last time you guys ever ate a fucking poutine? When was the last time you guys had poutine?
Like 2019, maybe.
Dude.
Dude, I can't remember. Like poutine, every time I have a cheat meal, I want to get one, but to me, it's just like the worst thing you can eat. So like,
I get you. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's
like
like
pizza.
literally
You know, like I want to get pizza for a cheat meal sometimes, but I'm like, from a digestion standpoint, I think that's the absolute worst fucking thing I can do. So I never do.
At least you're getting protein. With poutine, there's like zero protein. At least a pizza, you're gonna get like at least a good 80 grams of protein.
Yeah, from salami.
Yeah. Still,
Probably get more carbs from
protein
than you are
cheese
fucking
curds.
protein.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably just closer to
I've never had a beaver tail though.
No.
It's okay.
Yeah, they're
Worth
all
it.
right. It's just
Yeah.
bread with shit on it. Like it's
Yeah, I see the fucking overhype. Like I see the stores, the beaver tail stores. I'm like, fuck that.
you take a chocolate chip cookie over beaver tail.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah, you definitely would. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Canada compared to the US, we're just like the little guys, you know. We don't
cold as shit up here, and there's nothing here for anybody. Like
It's cold.
yeah,
Yeah.
Toronto's cool. I like Toronto. Vancouver's cool, but besides that, like
Toronto's not cool. Toronto's only cool.
What are you
You
talking
like the
about?
party.
Try living where I live. What do you mean?
I guess
Toronto's
so.
not cool?
Yeah.
You guys have the Raptors.
Yeah,
Oh, that is true. That is true. Yeah.
We have like a junior B team and like hockey team. Yeah. Like literally, like it's ridiculous.
Toronto is cool until you're in Toronto, and then you're like, fuck this place.
Yeah, I don't know. I like going for a visit, man.
So many homeless people, man.
There's a lot of homeless people.
A lot of homeless people. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the goal is to not be one of those homeless people, and then you're doing fine.
True. Yeah.
You're one of those homeless people. Toronto sucks for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. But even if you're like a millionaire and you have like $1 million home in Toronto, like what are you doing? You're taking the subway and the bus and you're walking everywhere.
Yeah, I know. I totally
That's
agree.
true.
There.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like probably one of the most expensive places to live in the world, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys got it pretty good out in Florida, man. I think that's a goal for a lot of bodybuilders.
Yeah, it's getting expensive here too, for places because everyone moved here during the pandemic. But
yeah,
it's a nice place to be for sure, especially Tampa.
Yeah, I love Tampa, man.
Yeah.
When I was in Tampa, I was like, I don't ever want to leave.
Yeah,
It's a nice mix. There's some city here, but it's not like crazy like Miami or like New York. But there's a lot to do still. It's a good gym culture here. We got Powerhouse in my 40. It's a nice place. Yeah.
Are you gonna go out to Are you gonna go to the Orlando Pro this year?
Maybe depending on when the date. When is it?
It's July 1st, I think.
July. Maybe. I don't know yet, but I want to try to go to more local shows for sure.
Yeah. No, I was just asking because I think I'm doing that show for my second show this year.
Who's the first?
Toronto Pro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna make the debut. I got my pro card in Toronto, so I feel pretty comfortable there. So I kind of want to do that for my first pro show, just to kind of get one under my belt.
It's a good show. It's a really good show.
Yeah. I watched it. I think I've been there the last 2 years watching it. So
a little bit hit or miss lately.
Well, I haven't been there since 2018, so it's been a while for me.
I think since the pandemic, people have not been competing in the Toronto Pro as much.
Well, it was so hard for like Americans to come here.
Yeah.
But we don't have those restrictions now, so I'm hoping that there will be some more guys come down for it.
Yeah. It was even hard for Canadians to get back into Canada at one point. That was fucking crazy.
Yeah, that was
yeah. I remember I had a buddy. He was staying with me, and it took him like 3 tries. He went to the airport 3 different days before he could leave.
Can you imagine that? Like they're not letting you go to your home country because you might give someone a cold.
Yeah,
Like, that's what the world was like for a while. I'm so happy we're Holy shit.
They said they were gonna fine me like $6,000.
Dude, I remember we had this thing where when we came home, we would have to like line up and we'd have to like fill out this form. Like when we got back to our province specifically, Newfoundland was the only province that had it. And I was flying so much through our COVID just because of like turn like just like bodybuilding events and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I had to go through this thing like 4 times. And I just remember being like the last time I ever had to go through it, I was like, what are they going to do? I was like, there's no like actual laws here. So I just like literally walked out of line and walked past them all. And they were like, sir, like you got to fill out the form. And I was like, or what? Yeah. Dude, like got in a cab and fucking left. And it's like nothing ever happened. Like
At Toronto,
every time I've done that before, that was just stupid bullshit, right?
At the Toronto airport, they were fucking serious about it, man. I tried to skip the line and just go get my bags and leave. And I had like police officers like walking me back.
Wow.
I was like, oh fuck.
They just started coughing everywhere.
Yeah.
No, they probably put you in quarantine for like 2 weeks if you did that.
Yeah. But things are much better now. So
That's good.
Yeah, looks good.
So Terrence, what are your top 3 supplements that you take? What are your top 3 favorites?
No, man, like in what favorites in what regard, I guess.
Like out of all the supplements that you take on a daily basis, if you can only have 3 of them, which 3 are you picking?
Like for health or like for taste or like
you only get 3, man. You only get 3.
Just all around. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta throw the other ones in the garbage. You only get 2.
Pressure's on, bud. You gotta sponsors. It's like the audacity of these guys.
Okay, well, random like out of every single thing I take, okay. Testosterone, I guess that would be probably the number one.
Bro, we're talking about. We don't talk about that on the show. No, I'm just.
Kidding.
Oops, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Shoot, protein powder because I eat a good amount of protein powder.
Okay, no, that doesn't count. That's a food.
Oh, okay. I would say that's tough. I mean, basically, I was just maybe like ubiquinol, astragalus, and NAC, maybe.
Yeah, you're not going with the health stuff, eh?
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel really secure when I take my ubiquinol in the morning.
Which one?
When I take my ubiquinol,
I don't take that shit.
You don't take ubiquinol, bro? That makes your heart bulletproof, basically.
Really?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, you can go if you take 200 milligrams of ubiquinol a day, you can blast up to 1,000 milligrams of Tren.
No way. Okay, I'm gonna test out this theory.
Bro, science. No one do that.
You gotta put the disclaimer too.
yeah, that's a joke, everybody.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
that's an interesting choice, though. The ubiquinol. What would you say? NAC.
And
NAC. Yeah.
Nice. So astragalus, that's like really good for like kidney health.
Kidney health, yeah.
Yeah. I do take a lot of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Mm-hmm. Okay. Top 3 favorite, not over the counter supplements. Then testosterone, trenbolone.
I don't really have any, dude. To be honest with you, I don't really have any favorites. Like some people, I don't feel a lot different, like on or off. You know, like people say they like feel like Superman. I don't ever feel like that. You know, personally, I feel like, oh my god, I got to take another shot. God damn it. You know.
Me too.
You know, I kind of it's good. It's it's everything. Every positive thing has a negative like side effect to it too. I guess if it does make you feel like Superman, and then I don't know.
Then you're gonna be super low when you're off.
Yeah. That's a good. Yeah.
You know what? Maybe that's like one of the traits of being like a good bodybuilder is that you don't have those like wild swings when you're on or you're off.
That could be. Yeah, could be.
Because
obviously. Like with Tren, I mean, some people have a hard time on Tren. Like, I've seen people mentally just have a really difficult time, and obviously that's a setback for sure. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're taking something that causes you to have super high stress levels and you're doing things that are messing up your life, that's not going to help.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I always wonder, like, is it because of the trend, or is it because of just your own psychology is kind of already, and it was just like the straw that broke the camel's back?
It'll be a bit of both. You never know.
Yeah.
I just think different drugs affect different people differently. Like, you know,
Sure.
like some guys can take 500 milligrams of tren a day or a week and they're fine. And some guys can take 150, 200 and they're like losing their minds on it. Like, you know,
Exactly.
yeah. So, and that's that one especially, you know, and like they're just a 19 Nors. I did a Q&A earlier today and someone asked me like if I thought 19 Nors were the most toxic, like steroids. And I think, you know, generally speaking, they probably are. And it seems like they come with like the harshest side effects, especially from a mental standpoint. And like, you know, going back to the blasting and cruising thing, like I would much rather be on a cruise dosage than blasting steroids because when I'm on TRT, like I feel good, I feel healthy. I don't really lose much strength in the gym, like still feel like a good, confident guy. But when I'm blasting, that's when I have to kind of worry more about what's going on upstairs and like dealing with anxiety and, you know, paranoia and just because the hormones are just, you know,
For
just
sure.
going all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, Terrence, do you use GH? I'm assuming you use GH.
Yeah. Typically like man, I haven't used GH in a couple. I need to buy some more. I haven't used it in a while, but
That's like
maybe like 3 I use a day. Yeah.
perpetually like, I gotta buy more GH, gotta buy more GH.
Yeah.
What about insulin? Do you have, I guess you don't use insulin much, or have you used that?
No, Matt used to have me use insulin, and even John had me use insulin, but my new coach, Yassine, no, none. Um, yeah. So I've used
I find the insulin thing a little bit interesting because it's like you have two camps. You have like the coaches that are like super pro insulin, and then you have the coaches that are like they're just like whatever about it.
for sure.
Yeah. So
I think it's good. Like if GH and steroids are in place, I think it can be beneficial from my own experience. Only using like long acting like Lantus, you know what I mean? And when carbs are high, obviously, like you want to make sure you're pushing like over 500 grams of carbs a day at least. I would say.
yeah,
For sure.
That's when I think that's when it worked for me. That's when I saw it because like I was literally like stuck at like 315 in my off season and like using Farmer Gray GH, like taking like my cycle, which was just like test and mast, so like nothing crazy. But
Yeah.
when we implemented that insulin, I didn't change my diet or anything. I just felt my body start using the food better, and I went to like 325.
Oh shit.
Little,
Okay.
like definitely a little bit of water retention, like for sure. Like
all water retention.
what the fuck up, dude? Okay, trying to give a shout out to insulin right now. Anyways, I think it's all right.
Yeah, it's definitely been overhyped.
I would say so. I think most drugs are overhyped, in my opinion.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I think everything is overhyped if you talk about it in like a single like context. Like, you know, like GH by itself, useless. Like testosterone without food and training, useless. Like, but it's when you have all these things and you have someone like us that knows how to apply ourselves in the gym and in the kitchen and with sleep, that's when you're getting like the effect
For
from
sure.
it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So did you turn pro naturally then, Terrence?
No, I had did my first cycle running into going into that show. I don't remember what I was doing at the time, to be honest with you. You could probably find like the template somewhere around, but
Yeah.
So you probably gained weight going into that show, did you?
I probably did. So I have photos and I've looked at them and I've thought about it a couple of times, but I was the same weight, but I was significantly leaner.
Yeah.
Because I competed in April at 155, and then I competed in November at 155, and I was way leaner that second time. So obviously, I don't know how much I put on, but I don't think it was that much because I was the same weight. I was thinking anywhere from like 5 to 7 pounds, but that's a good amount in a year, especially from April to November. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and do like 5 to 7 pounds on a 155 pound guy is like substantial, especially if you get like, you know, like you said, you get leaner and show more detail, muscle maturity, like all that stuff too. It's like it can be a completely different look.
For sure.
When,
So
when you did that first cycle, did you had already decide that you were going to go pro, you were going to go to the Olympia, you can do all that stuff, or was it kind of that evolved as you started competing more?
no, I definitely got into it for that reason. I know some people get into competing just like, oh, I want to see how it does, how I do, and like, but no, I was like, I don't think I would have competed if I didn't think that was the case.
Yeah.
When I got into it, I saw Dexter Jackson, and my goal was to be on stage with him. from the day I decided to compete, that was the goal. So I knew I would get there. I just didn't know when or how long. And funny enough, I never technically got on stage with Dexter Jackson, but we were on the same stage. But and I did get on stage with Flex Wheeler, obviously a way retired.
Oh yeah, he did the classic physique show.
He did.
Yeah,
That was so cool, to be honest with you.
that's epic.
He was really nice. But yeah, from the day I started, I kind of figured that's what I wanted to do. Yeah.
So did when you turn pro, that kind of like light the fire even more, where you were just like, okay, like this is getting serious, and then probably devoting yourself a little bit more to it, or
I was already completely in. Like so my first show, I was, like we talked about earlier, in the first show, I was like, okay, I saw the guy who won the year before. I was like, this year I'm gonna beat that same kid. I was 19, so I could do the teenager division. He was also a teenager, so I was like, I'm gonna beat this kid. And what ended up happening was I came in. He didn't even do the teenager division. I came in second in the teenager class, and then in the open, I came in last place. So, not my expectation whatsoever. And I trained hard. I did everything, to the best of my ability. I didn't have the best coach at the time. It's a local lady that worked at Goals, but regardless, my mindset was very much there. But that's what actually put a fire under me. After that loss, I was like, okay, let me take it up a notch. So I didn't have a life outside of bodybuilding, for like a year and a half. I didn't go out. I was dead broke all the time because all my money went to bodybuilding, and I was living in the dorms in the military. So a lot of our money was siphoned off. Like they took out money because we were living in the dorms. They took out money because they had a cafeteria. So getting enough food was a little difficult as well. But I managed it. I didn't buy anything new. I didn't get a smartphone. Anytime I wanted Wi-Fi, I would just go to Starbucks or somewhere. And yeah, that's right then and there. And then the following year, I won the novice overall at 20, and I won my class as well, and I almost won the overall, but I wasn't quite lean enough. So yeah, and then a few months later, I got my pro card, and yeah, it was pretty crazy. They talk about, everyone's asking about balance. Like, hey, how do you balance bodybuilding and having a life? And in certain times, if you really want to be the best, you don't have balance. You have to put your all into something. And it's just true across any discipline. People talk about, bodybuilding is a selfish sport. Any sport is any endeavor that you want to do and be the best at, it's going to be selfish. I listened to 50 Cent saying he didn't drink, he didn't go out while he's trying to do his albums. You look at Steve Jobs, who didn't even shower throughout the week because he's so focused on building, innovative products for Apple. No matter what you do in life, if you want to be the best, you're going to have to put your all into it. Something's going to fall by the wayside. You can't prioritize every single thing. And you have to like consciously make that decision. Is this worth it? Like, is it worth it enough to like put my all into this and, neglect those going out, neglect those trips out with family, or neglect, going on vacation somewhere, Yeah. And that's up to the individual to make. If you want to do that, that's cool. If you don't, that's also cool.
Yeah, our society almost has it so that it's like viewed unhealthy to put all of yourself into something, right? Like if people see that, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, like look at Terrence devoting all this time to bodybuilding. Like, he's not going to go anywhere with that. Like that's not healthy for him. But those people just can't even fathom like the self-belief it takes to like, kind of do what we've done and get to where we're going. And it's a risk, of course. Like I even think about myself, like, I dropped out of school for the third time to just pursue bodybuilding and be like, you know what, I'm going to be a pro bodybuilder. And if it didn't work out, like I would be in a hard spot right now because I would have no education. I'd be 30 years old and I wouldn't be a pro and I wouldn't have a coaching business, but
yeah,
I'm so happy I did because now I'm living my dream essentially. Like,
right. The thing is that you educate yourself, because I think that, education, what it really comes down to being educated means you know how to get what you want. period. Right? And you do that. You know how to get what you want. You did it, and you're doing it. So you are educated, regardless of what degrees you have or whatever. But
well, that like yeah, exactly, and like that's now something like when I was trying to go to university and stuff, like I just wasn't that type of person then, right? But like if I was ever in a situation where like I had to go back to school now, like I would crush it because I know how to apply myself, and like I hold myself to a certain regard where it's like if I'm going to go sit down this and commit to it and be like I'm going to get this degree and whatever, like I'm going to be the best in that damn class. Like you better believe it, because like that competitive instinct that I've developed from bodybuilding is going to take. That's what I'm like in business now. Like there's a few like online coaches around here, like in my area, that I'm friends with everybody, but like when I see them like promoting their business or like promoting their client transformations, like it gets my brain going like, okay, dude, you got to make some moves here. Like your competition's making moves. Like, why are you sitting around like not doing that? Like, you know what I mean? So I get like, like the switch flips pretty easy for me just when I get put in those like scenarios, I guess. Right.
And you guys feel like this too. It's like when you're so immersed in bodybuilding, I think just, in our special case, because we love it so much, when you're fully immersed, you're doing everything you need to do. Other people will look at that as not being balanced, but for me personally, I feel the most balanced during those periods of time, and I feel less balanced during those periods of time in the off season. Like in my recent off season, I went out and just had like some social, like I just went and partied, had a few parties. I didn't feel as balanced. I was like, I'm kind of not doing the things that I really want to do. Ultimately, I want to trade my entire life for this bodybuilding goal. So if I'm doing anything else besides that, it doesn't feel right for me. Do you guys feel like that too? Or do you incorporate balance in a different way? Because balance is different for everybody, right? It's like what balance I think means is that it's sustainable for you. Right?
That's what you're saying. Yeah. I've gotten a little bit better at it. I remember when I was younger, like I would seriously get frustrated and like pissed, like if I had a meal like 10 minutes late, from the time I was supposed to, like I would physically be pissed off. Now I'm a little bit more flexible, but at the same time, I've gotten more comfortable with myself. Where like back then, I wanted to have everything in a certain way. When I had my meals, I wanted to eat them like here at this time, and now I'm like, okay, well, I can still bring a meal with me, to the mall and sit down and eat it. And who gives a fuck? They'll look at me for 10 seconds, and the next 10 seconds they forgot what was going on.
Yeah.
So I've gotten more comfortable in a sense. I can go out and do stuff, but I got more comfortable with myself and with the lifestyle I live.
Yeah, you got to take the stress out of yourself, right? Like that's something for me too. Like especially in prep, just being like, and even like wanting to like when it's mealtime, like I want to sit on the couch and like watch like a show, and like if I don't get to do that, like I would be upset. But now I'm more just like that doesn't matter. Like I can eat my meal anywhere. Once the meal's gone, like I'm not even going to think about it anymore. So like, who cares? But like, I think the hardest thing for me, I don't know if you guys are like this, but like when I have like downtime, like when I have nothing to do, like that's where I struggle the most. Like
100%.
Because I feel like I'm unproductive and I feel like I'm falling behind or something on my goals. If I'm, it's really hard for me just to sit down and like watch a movie. Like, you know what I mean?
Me too.
Yeah.
I always feel like there's more that could be done, right? You feel like
especially in this game, right? Because where we have sponsors and we have businesses, you're like, I should be doing something on social media right now to like promote myself. Like I should be posting or like something like that. Like that.
Exactly. It goes full circle, like we said at the beginning, because we're so competitive. Competing against ourselves, but really against everybody else too.
Yeah, exactly. You just always want to be in the mix. Like you don't want to feel like you're falling behind on your duties, like or whatever, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I talked to a sports hypnotherapist, and we did a session today, and he actually brought up something that like we were talking about there. Sorry, I got distracted, my phone was going off. But we were talking about how there's you, and you do your things, and then there's this perfect version of you who does everything that you do but better and all the time, and they're never lazy and they never procrastinate, and it's like, fuck, man, that's who you're competing against.
Yeah. So
I like it. Yeah, me too. Good chat, boys. Good chat. All right, man, I won't take too much of your time, but just want to say we're really appreciative of having you on. This was really, really cool. I really enjoyed picking your brain, getting, into the mindset type things. And
You too.
yeah, man. So your website, ironeden.com.
IronEden.io. .com was like $7,000. I'm like, not gonna spend $7,000 on .com today.
No.
Yeah, smart man.
Yeah.
And what else? So that's the main place besides Instagram that people can find your coaching and your services?
Yeah, that's the main place. They want to go to YouTube, Rough Diesel. Everything's Rough Diesel. Everything with the business, ironeden.io. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. And we're gonna have to get you on again in the future too.
Of course, man. I loved it. You don't get to talk mindset most of the time. Most of the time, it's just meal plans and what's your training like.
Yeah,
it's cool.
And dude, when you get your podcast rolling, let us know and we'll jump on.
Yeah, let's do it.
There we go, man. That's great.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay, boys. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. We'll wrap it up there. Make sure you guys subscribe, comment, do all that shit. Follow Terrence if you're not already. In fact, you're probably watching us because you're following Terrence. So
yeah. Follow us, man. Follow us.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Have a great night. Thanks again, Terrence.
All right. Peace.
Peace.